Hello, welcome to this segment of Fearless Aging. And the title of this segment is Muscle Changes Everything as We Age. As I like to say, it's use it or lose it. And I'm real excited about today's show because we have a great expert guest. Her name is JJ Virgin. She's a revolutionary health leader. She's a triple board certified nutritional expert, fitness hall of famer, and a passionate advocate for the healing power of food and exercise. And she's on a mission to redefine aging, not as something to endure, but as a stage of life to own strength, vitality, and purpose. And amen to that. JJ, so nice to see you. And so thanks for being here.
Yeah, good to be back.
Yeah. Well, I like to start by, you and I have been in this health and fitness industry for a long, long time. When did you first start?
Actually, I started teaching calisthenics in high school.
Oh, wow.
And then went to UCLA on a theater scholarship, and I started teaching aerobics. And then someone asked me to come to their house, and that's when I started personal training.
Yeah.
And so it really has been, 40 years now.
Yeah, same for me. I started in 1982. Yeah, so we got over 80. You and I could talk for hours on the subject, all the things we've experienced and learned. But we've only got about 20 minutes, so I really want to get into it. So, well, first question I want to ask you is, as you know, we've evolved so much in science of what we learned about what the body requires to function optimally in both nutrition and exercise and sleep and all those things. But yet we're still one of the most unhealthiest countries in the world. We're the fattest country. We have a very short life expectancy compared to a lot of the major industrial nations. So why do you think this is?
I think it's a whole bunch of things all merging together as a problem. It's everything from the ultra processed food to our sedentary behavior. I mean, I just think back to whenever I go to Europe, you walk everywhere, the food is fresh, that you don't have all the toxic exposure. So you look at it and go, we just have a whacked lifestyle here. And you take time to eat, you eat with friends. So you look at it and go, too much stress, too much work, too many toxins, especially in our food. And I think that in a lot of ways, the way that we've built our medical system has basically created more of a crutch for us. Like you look at how we take care of our cars or our pets, where you do prevention and you take care of them because it's too costly not to, yet our health system's designed for just the opposite. So I just think we've really gotten so far away from the way we're supposed to live and be. And we're reaping the effects of that.
Yeah, no question about it. But again, so my question is though, but there's so much information out these days, and just like you and I are getting out and all. I mean, the information is out there. I don't think there's still that many people who don't know that they need to exercise. So what do we need to do to better?
It's overwhelming. I think it's overwhelming. I'm a simplifier by nature. I took this assessment and it was like all the different types of things you could be. And I'm a simplifier. I'm like, I could have told you that without the test. Is when you look at all this stuff and you go, oh my gosh, okay, so it's the environment, it's this, it's like, then you're like, you just freeze because there's too much to do. But if you just went, okay, what's one thing you could just start with? Mm-hmm. And if the one thing you could start with was, I always like to start with changing what's at the end of your fork, because I know that you'll feel better fast by doing that piece. So if all you focused on one thing was like, okay, let's add, I love the idea of adding before you take away. So why don't we just add some clean protein? Because I know that'll make you eat less and crave less. And once we have that dialed in, maybe we could just start to get you to move more. Mm-hmm. And what you measure and monitor, you improve. So could we just start tracking how many steps you take? I've gotten very focused on tracking my steps. And making sure that no matter what, and this is a big deal right now, Rico, because I have a broken foot. So literally, I was doing 12,000 steps a day. Then the broken foot thing, which is an old injury, started really bugging me. And I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure I get at least 8,000. But I mean, if I can do that with gimping around with a broken foot, it's like, we can do this, right? So once you get that under your belt, maybe we can just get that sleep dialed in, right? So just one thing at a time. It might take you a week to get that in place. It might take you 6 months. It doesn't matter as long as you're making progress, because the body, thank God, is resilient and can heal if you give it the right input, right?
Yeah. Yeah. So I think it's just about, I mean, we all have, everything that we do is habits. It just begin to establish some simple, like you say, simple, basic habits that we know will make a difference. And isn't that the good news in all the things that we teach? If you do them, you can't fail. You're going to get the results, right?
But here's the thing, and this is the difference. You have to actually do them.
Yeah,
and I think
you got to do it.
The frame really needs to be this. And I like the way Andrew Huberman talks about it on his podcast. Is like, do hard things. The reason I love resistance training so much is because it shows you that you can do hard stuff. Mm-hmm. And, you know, the challenge with all of these things we're talking about is you have to do the things. And I think for some reason we've gotten kind of like, you know, so pick one thing until it doesn't become hard anymore, then do the next hard thing and just keep looking for the next hard thing to do. And that's how you will grow and progress at any age, right?
Yeah, that's so good. I mean, I think the message there is, even though it seems hard at first, but once you get into it, it gets much easier, and then you'll say, yeah, that wasn't so bad after all, was it?
Right. Then you got to go find another hard thing.
Find another hard thing, yeah. Well, let's talk a little bit about, as far as aging goes here. You know, you talk about aging powerfully, and I talk about ageless living, which is the same thing. So what does that look for you? What do you think that looks for people in real life, for somebody in 50s, 60s, 70s, even 80s?
I wanted to give it that term because there's so much conversation out there about aging gracefully, and that just sounds like a slow, steady decline.
I agree. I don't like that term either.
Right. And it's like, and also it sounds like things like behave yourself. And I'm like, okay, you know what? Yeah. Like at this point, I'm going to do the things I want to do. I'm going to ask for forgiveness, not permission. And like, let's go. And aging powerfully means like, we've worked so hard to get to this point. And there's now I just feel like I'm just waking up to all of the things that I want to accomplish and do. And I don't want anything to hold me back. So what is it, you know, what do I need to do to make sure that I can be doing the hiking I like to do and doing the traveling I like to do and working the way I want to work in my 70s, 80s, 90s, right? For me, it is not this whole thing with all these people living to 150 or whatever ridiculousness they're out there saying. That is not it. It is like being able to do what I want to do every day with the people I want to do it with and making the impact I want to make. That's it.
Yeah, it's creating a good health span. Lifespan, who knows how long we're going to live, but we want to be healthy and energetic as long as we're here. I totally agree with you. And it's just about, you know, doing whatever you need to do to take care of your body so you can enjoy your life and make a positive difference in the world. We need more people as they age to use their knowledge and wisdom, you know, to give back to our community and to be mentors for younger people.
Well, that's a whole other thing that we suck at in the United States. But seriously, like I have a couple mentors who are 10 years older than me. I seek out people who are older than me, but it's like, I have one friend who is an amazing human being who feels just like he's not even relevant anymore. Yeah. And like started one of the biggest companies out there, has so much knowledge, no one's tapping. I'm like, this is ridiculous. You know, it's like.
Well, the question I have here too, you know, both you and I have worked with elite athletes and everyday moms and all that. So what are the common patterns you see that people who are aging powerfully and living life to the fullest?
They are prioritizing all the things that we've been talking about, like as the most important thing. They are not, you know, staying out late partying and eating a bunch of garbage and skipping their workouts. Like, and I think of any of those things, and it makes my heart sing to say this because it's my whole background is in exercise science. But when you look at any of this stuff, exercise to me is the single most important thing. And like, you know, I look at most of my friends and they are out there working out harder than they ever have in their lives, which is just awesome, you know? Yeah.
Well, also, I mean, you don't have to beat yourself up, but you just got to be consistent. You just got to stay with it. And on that same note, you know, I did a whole paper, a report a few years ago called The Ageless Brain. And all the research I did, every one of the people said, exercise is the very best thing to keep your brain functioning well.
Yep. I just did a talk at the Integrative Mental Medical Health Society, I think, or something. Mm-hmm. Anyway, and it was a talk about mind over muscle, about how important exercise was, both for mental disorders like depression and bipolar, but also for cognitive decline, dementia. Like it just, when you went across the board, every single thing, when you looked at it, it was like, oh, it was exercise versus antidepressants, exercise one, it was exercise. It was like crazy. So, the cool thing with exercise is, for so many things, there's a risk reward. I mean, the risks for exercise are very low unless you're doing something crazy. Yeah. So the side benefits are insane, because it's going to help your brain, it's going to help your body, it's going to help your bones, everything.
And you're going to look and feel a lot better.
Yeah,
that's the most, look better and feel better. Okay, so the title of our segment today was "Muscles Changes Everything." So, talk a little bit about what exactly you mean by that, and then about the latest science on how muscle mass really impacts our health and our aging and all those things.
Early on when I was in graduate school, we were taught that you should not have someone lift weights until they lose the weight. The fortunate thing is while I was in graduate school, I was also training people at Gold's Gym in Venice. And what I saw there was, first of all, what always blew my mind is you just didn't see people who were over fat at Gold's Gym in Venice, right? You saw people out jogging who were, but not people, right? So my focus has always been muscle first. Like the first thing I want to do is start focusing on how to put more muscle on, because it will change everything. When I first looked at it, it was like, how do I change your metabolism so that you stop struggling with weight loss? Because I knew if I put more muscle on, you'd have a better metabolism. It would hold everything in tighter, so you'd look better, but also it'd help you with insulin sensitivity and having a place for sugar to land. But then as I started to dig into it, I'm like, oh, muscle helps your immune system. Oh, muscle helps your bone. Oh, muscle helps your brain. And so when you really look at what you can do simply by contracting your muscles against force, right? It's crazy. Anything going on in your body basically improves when you start to do this. Maybe with the exception of, say, a broken bone. That would not improve. But everything else, it's going to be better.
Yeah. Well, also, I mean, there's no question as we age, we might lose a little bone mass and we might lose a little structural integrity of our joints. So the best thing you can do is have good, strong muscles around you to protect your joints, and then you won't have all that joint problem.
Right. Well, I look at them as kind of like your health savings account. I mean, ideally, we would start kids early in life doing all sorts of resistance training exercises that we used to tell them, don't ever do that. It's like ridiculous. Yeah. So we'd start early. So we'd start building that bank account early, but also building the habit early. And we'd pack on as much muscle as possible so that we have that later on in life. Now, I believe that you can maintain that. I did a DEXA at 39 and 59, and they were exactly the same. So I do not believe that we, lose muscle mass because we're aging. I think we're losing muscle mass because we're being more sedentary. We're not working out hard enough. So I think that we can maintain a lot of this, but the more you have, the easier it will be, because, if you end up getting injured or getting sick and you have to go into bed rest. I mean, they did a bed rest study on young men. I think they were in their 20s, and they showed that in 2 weeks, they lost 4 pounds of muscle and they dropped their whole body insulin sensitivity by like 38%. It was insane. So that's the challenge, is we have to be ready for those times when we do have to be sedentary, that maybe you get sick or you get injured and you can't move.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm a testimony for that. I've had a knee injury from way back in playing football, and tore up my knee, and now, for the last probably 15 years, it's pretty much bone on bone, but I keep the muscle strong and it's still holding up for me. I don't want to have any kind of replacement or joint replacement. Just keep your muscle strong, and you probably won't need that.
Yep. I had a similar thing. I finally had to do it 30 years later, just because it changed my back. It started to change everything in my body because of the difference in space. But I mean, I was able to put it off. The doctor's like, how are you doing that? I go, because everything else is really strong. And I keep moving it, which keeps the blood flow, right?
Yeah.
Keeps
Yeah.
the nutrients to the joint. So that's important too.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I do want to ask you when you say how muscle impacts, uh, it, I guess you say it can reduce inflammation and improve your immunity. How does that work?
So there's muscles when they contract release myokines. This is like your body is creating its own pharmacy. And what's
Okay.
cool about that is it happens inside the muscle, next to the muscle, and all over the body. So your muscles are contracting and they are releasing things that help reduce inflammation, like IL-6. They're helping with fat burning. They're helping put stress on the bones. So they're releasing all these different types of chemicals that do everything from like better mood, better inflammation, lower inflammation, better immune system, like all sorts of crazy good things. So it's made me think, because, we weren't taught about these myokines in grad school. And back then, the whole big thing was, well, when you're sick, should you exercise or not? And like my thought process now on when you're sick or injured and should you exercise is very different than it used to be. Yeah. Now it's like, get your butt up as quickly as you possibly can and do some contraction as quickly as possible to get that pharmacy going.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, okay. So just a little bit about resistance training, how you say most people still aren't doing it right. And I know that's true. Every time I go to the gym and I see people working out, I just go, oh my goodness, Yeah. So talk a little bit about what you think is, I mean, what is the proper way to use resistance training, and what's the minimum effective amount that people should be doing?
So what you really want to do with resistance training is challenge your muscles so that they have to adapt and get stronger, which means you need to do more than what you're used to. Mm-hmm. When as you age, use it or lose it. And again, whether it's happening because you're not using it or you're aging, I think it's more you're not using it. Mm-hmm. We start to lose muscle size, but worse than that, 2 times more strength and 3 times more power. So muscle size is how big the muscle is. Muscle strength is how much you can move in one time, and muscle power is how fast you can do it. Mm-hmm. When you improve size, you'll improve some strength and power, but they're really a little bit of different training. At the minimum, what I would have someone do is work. We used to say it was a very tight range for hypertrophy. We now know that you can do anywhere from 6 reps all the way up to like 30 and still build muscle. So if you want to go lighter, you go longer. If you want to go heavier, go shorter. But the big important thing is that at the end of each set, after your mobility and warm-up stuff, mm-hmm. you should get to a point where you feel like you could maybe eke one more out. And that form's always your limiter. If you start to feel like your form's going, you stop. I find most people don't push themselves to that point. Mm-hmm. Especially women, we back off a little bit sooner. Now, it's not going into bad form. Again, it's that point where your form would break. But really pushing yourself to that point where it's like, maybe you could get another one out. That's the important part of it. The minimum effective dose is 2 days a week. Mm-hmm. In hitting your pushing, your pulling, and your hip and thigh hinging. I don't do separate core because I do core exercise in the way that I work out. And that's the way I like people to do it, because in life we use our core. So if you're doing things like a squat, which is such a functional exercise we have to do all day, every day, from getting off the toilet, off the chair, out of the car, a push up or an overhead press, and then something like a bent over row. So very things that mimic our activities of daily living that also pull our core in. And these are things you could do at home with some bands or free weights. That what's important, again, is it could be body weight, it could be bands, it can be free weights, it can be machines. It just needs to be that you can get to that point where you feel like, you're really slowing down and your form's about to go. And so you need to quit. And I use speed kind of as one of my indicators, because I like to train fast, because then I can pull in some power. I don't believe in slow training. I think that's silly. Because in life, I don't want to go slow. If you train slow, you go slow. So I understand they're trying to increase more time under tension. I think just do more reps and keep the speed.
What do you think? I recently saw a study that they said that even one good set of an exercise to failure can give you almost as good of results as doing multiple sets.
Especially if those multiple sets are not getting you there.
Yeah.
And you don't have to go all the way to failure. What they've seen is that quite often that keeps you from working out again that week. So that's why I say it's right to the edge. It's having that, like, could I eke one more out? Now, I will quite often get to that point because I try to push myself there, but it's getting super close to it. But if you don't get there, and I think that's where most people, what I see happening at the gym is people are phoning it in. They're just checking the box, and they're also spending most of their time doing very single joint or small group movements. So instead of doing things like a leg press or a lat pull down, they're doing a bicep curl and a calf raise, and like, let's work the biggest multi-joint compound movements first. And then if you want to do some of those little vanity moves at the end, fine, but that's not the key critical stuff. Do the big stuff.
Okay. Well, I know you have to go up here pretty soon. We're pretty much into the time. So what would you say to people who still aren't exercising very much, and even though they know they want to, what would you say to them to get them, that can motivate them to begin to take action and realize that they can do it? You and I are being good models for people. We're doing it no matter what your age, no matter what their physical condition or what their age is. What would you tell them to get them going?
Honestly, I think the best thing someone could do is hire a trainer.
Yeah.
Who will charge you double if you don't show up. Like back when I was a trainer, I kind of learned, I went, oh, I should charge double if they don't show up. Like, hire a trainer, pay more than what you can afford so that you actually will do it.
Yeah. If you pay, you're going to do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And even if you can only afford to hire the trainer to have them monitor you like once a week or once a month, they can check in to make sure you're doing what you need to do, so that you get it going. That's the single best one is to get you into it, have someone help you get you there to start.
Yeah, just got to get started. And once you stick with it for a few months, you'll have such great results.
I know, then you won't want to stop.
You won't want to stop. That's right. We don't want to stop, right? No. Well, I guess you got to go, JJ. I just, it's so much fun having you here. We'll have to have you back again, talk about I had a whole bunch more questions and things I'd like to go over, but again, just thanks so much for being here, and thanks for all the work that you're doing.
All right. Thank you. See ya.
Thank you, JJ. Take care.